Good afternoon again and welcome. I want to introduce two young ladies that came to me about whatever, but they had a project that I thought was very interesting. And I asked Miss Grace, was she and Miss Paige come and share it with our audience today and also with our board, especially to our board. They need to understand this, but it's a very, very intriguing project. Ms. Grace and Ms. Paige, come on up.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. First, I must thank Mr. Bobby Simpson for inviting Paige and I to present today. I'm Grace Quartey. Our presentation today is twofold. Paige, my partner, will talk about why we need a digital minority bank, and I will talk about why we are asking CA to invest in it. I'm a certified public accountant with a master's in business administration from the University of Baltimore, where Paige and I met. I've been a CPA since 1994, 27 years, and the owner of Grace and Associates, LLC, an accounting, tax, and small business consulting firm here in New York City. I serve on the boards of the YCEA, the Memorial Health Fund, and was a member of the leadership team at the West York Rotary Club for several years. My husband Seth and I co-founded Building Solid Foundations, a nonprofit organization based here in York with a mission that includes cross-cultural facilitations. In the past 15 years, we have traveled with about 400 York natives to Ghana to volunteer in the areas of medicine, education, engineering, construction, and economic development. So I'm well connected to the business sector and our community. I have lived in the United States for about 35 years. My family and I have lived in New York for 22 years. So we consider York our home away from home. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm passionate about finding opportunities that benefit my adopted home and beyond. And I believe this opportunity, if implemented with support from CA and the community, will be the holy grail I've been searching for all my life. So with that said, I'm going to and should have Paige share a bit about herself and talk about why we need a digital minority bank, please.
Thank you, Grace. Good afternoon. I am Paige Hines Cheatham. I'll take this off. As Grace mentioned, we go back many years. We went to graduate school together, and she is my financial and tax consultant. I have an MBA in Management Information Systems from the University of Baltimore and have spent my career in information technology. I am currently the Director of Project Management at a company called Catalyte, where we discover talent from unexpected places. It is a software development company, but what is so innovative about Catalyte is that we find and we develop amazing software developers. I spent the majority of my career in the federal contracting space, where I have worked for corporations such as General Dynamics, SAIC, and Lockheed Martin. I also created a mobile app called Reminisce. Reminisce is a trivia game that embraces trivia from the African American perspective, with our movies, our TV shows, and our illustrious history. My app is currently in the App Store and the Google Play Store. I bring to the table two things: my passion and my vision to help minority communities become self-sufficient and economically empowered. I am very passionate about this, and I know how to take a vision and execute it into tangibles. I also have an IT background and would like to incorporate fintech into this venture and start off by making this a digital bank. Fintech is any technology that's used to streamline, disrupt, or digitize traditional financial services. Fintech is one of the fastest growing tech sectors and brings innovation into almost every aspect of finance. Grace and I are really excited about this venture, and we appreciate your time this afternoon. Why start a bank? Why begin this daunting task, you may ask? There's a proverb that I absolutely love that says, "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." That's what we want to do. We want to teach our communities how to fish. A lot of things that came to light in 2020. We found ourselves in the middle of a global pandemic, which forced people to open their eyes to a lot of things that have been happening within minority communities. They were and was ignored for a very long time. Everyone saw it. We saw health disparities, food insecurities, and economic and racial inequalities. The COVID-19 pandemic cast a spotlight on the lack of financial access to minority communities. Now, this reigns true under normal circumstances, but has become exponential under the economic stress of this pandemic. Small businesses are the backbone of America. They create jobs and support communities. However, during the pandemic, these businesses were turned away from the large financial banks. Just to give you a little history, in the early 1900s, Tulsa's Black Wall Street flourished as a self-contained hub. What made Black Wall Street so powerful is that the black dollar circulated anywhere from 36 to 1,000 times, sometimes taking a whole year before it left the community. Fast forward to today. Within the Jewish community, the dollar circulates 10 times, 6 times in the Asian community, but an infinite number of times within the white community, more than any other groups. But sadly, the black dollar doesn't even circulate one time within our own communities. As a matter of fact, the black dollar only stays in the black community less than 6 hours. This must change if we hope to address the issues of high unemployment, crime, and creating wealth in our communities. So in this venture, we would like to focus on 5 things. The first one is accommodate the financial needs of minority communities. Second one, empower our communities and provide them with access to financial services. A lack of access to financial services is not just a symptom of the racial wealth gap, it is also a cause. Without the ability to affordably save, invest, and insure themselves against risk, many black families struggle to translate the income that they earn into wealth. The third thing we want to address is the unbanked or underbanked. Excuse me. In America, 28% are unbanked or underbanked. 58% in underserved communities are unbanked or underbanked. What is that? These are people who either don't have a bank account or have an account but still use non-traditional financial services to make ends meet. So we really need to address the needs of these communities. And we can start with a bank that will gain trust of the community and provide financial access and financial literacy. The fourth thing we want to address is non-traditional financial services. Minority communities fall victim to predatory lending practices. Because they don't trust banks, they use non-traditional financial services such as check cashing services, pawn shops, and payday loans. And they find themselves in a vicious cycle where there is more month than money, and they need additional funds to get through the month. But these services come with astronomical fees and interest rates. The last thing is we want to empower small businesses by automating basic bookkeeping records. Before I hand it back over to Grace, I just want to leave you with some data. There are 4,430 banks in the United States. 636 savings institutions. There's only 149 minority banks. And within that 149, 21 black banks. So that tells us that there is definitely a need and enough to go around. So we want to create a bank that will set us apart from the rest and also take care of the unique needs of our communities. Our mission is to serve as a catalyst for economic growth and revitalization by empowering our communities with access to credit, capital, financial services, and financial literacy. Thank you so much for your time, and I will hand it over to Grace.
Thank you, Paige. As Paige mentioned, all the reasons that we need a minority bank. 2020 was definitely an eye-opener. These experiences, in addition to many others, are part of the many reasons why we are asking CA to invest in New York's first minority bank. This will take the form of a digital and a branch bank that reaches out to those who are getting left further behind. The opportunity for CA. CA is the pioneer social services organization in New York City. As CA celebrates 90 years of service to our community, our current environment presents a unique opportunity for this organization to pivot, to help build a solid foundation where Black and brown and low-income people will have better access to resources and acquire the knowledge needed to begin to build generational wealth. This is where we can make a difference. Generational wealth. It refers to any kind of asset that families pass down to their children or grandchildren, whether in the form of cash, investment funds, stocks and bonds, property, and even entire companies. This is our moment. This is a good time for our community to diversify our investment portfolio and invest in our main street and not just on Wall Street. There are many long-term investment opportunities right here in our own local community economy. A bold yet a fiscally conservative way to begin, in our opinion, is to invest in a for-profit community digital bank. Why a for-profit company? The nonprofit business model has provided outstanding services to our community, that's for sure. But we believe this new venture should be a for-profit entity because it builds up our whole base. This for-profit entity will be organized as a benefit corp with accountability through a diverse board and financial advisors. And I'm thrilled to say that it aligns perfectly with the core values of CA. Integrity, diversity, respect, self-sufficiency, sustainability, and embracing change. We believe a for-profit digital bank will build on the solid foundation that CA has established over almost a century. It will add value by providing financial services to allow York residents and businesses to 1, grow organically, 2, increase the city's tax base, and 3, avoid adding to the city's tax-exempt base. In other words, it's a win-win-win. Our new bank's commitment to operate beyond traditional banking business models with a keen focus on long-term profitability will help alleviate some of the economic and social pressures our community faces. The FDIC capital required to qualify for a minority MDI, a minority bank, is between $15 million and $18 million. We expect to have a good number of individual investors and foundations. CA's investment will help us reach and maintain the 51% ownership requirement to be an MDI. As a small business owner who works daily with small business owners, I thank all of you for your work and contributions to our communities. 90 years is a long time to make a difference, and you have. Your work has not gone unnoticed, and it's vital. Partner with us. Join with us in taking the next step to raise the economic sustainability of the people and businesses of York, including customized services for minority customers. Thank you for inviting us to speak with you about this timely opportunity, because this is our moment. We can make a difference now with York's very first MBI that ultimately serves the entire region and beyond. As the adage goes, you never know what you're truly capable until you're put in an uncomfortable situation. So, give rise to possible. May this idea foster and develop as you go about your work this week. Have a great week, and thank you again.